Well, welcome to Session 2. My name is Nathan. I'm the Fort Worth 5th-6 pastor.
And my name is Corey, and I'm the 5th-6 girls director at the Fort Worth campus.
Now, in Session 1, Kevin talked about Luke 2:52. Session 2 is all about the changes that your adolescent is going to experience, because there's a lot. So first up, let's talk about all the physical changes going on. At this stage, your preteen is going through puberty. Now, I know that's an awkward word to say and even more awkward to think about, but what this means is that your preteen is just experiencing all sorts of changes. They're growing. You'll see them grow to about 50% of their ideal adult size. You'll see them develop all these lean muscles, so don't get frightened, but they'll also be experiencing sexual maturation, voice changes, and more likely than not, they're gonna be so self-conscious about the whole process. They're constantly worried about how they look to others, to their peers especially, at their own age. So in order to help them, we need to affirm that they are uniquely created by God. We also need to affirm that this whole process, although awkward, is absolutely normal. So on top of that, there's also a bunch of mental changes. And just like they're experiencing with their physical bodies, there is a growth spurt going on in the brain of your preteen. They're moving from concrete thought to abstract thought. And they're developing the ability to speculate about consequences about the future, understand multiple perspectives, and think critically about themselves and others. You see, they're learning how to make decisions right now. And if you haven't already figured it out, they're not that good at it, but you'll quickly find that out. Now, their brains are also developing motor pathways and thought patterns, neuron pathways that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. So what this means is that we need to teach them how to think, not necessarily what to think. So with that said, here's some helpful information for you to think about. Your adolescent is beginning to think, quote unquote, like an engineer. I like to say that because what that means is that they learn best and personalize ideas when they connect all the pieces and all the thoughts together. But again, they need help learning how to connect all those thoughts together. So it's helpful to remember that adolescents at this time, because of that, are forgetful at times. Now, remember, they're developing an abundance of neuron pathways that they haven't ever encountered before. So it's easy for them to get distracted. I.e., it's important to be as clear and simple if you want to be heard and remembered. Now, there's always going to be other times when they're going to do something and your initial response is going to be, what in the world were you thinking? In these cases, remember, it's likely because they literally just were not thinking. They haven't connected the dots yet. They haven't connected all the pieces of information yet. So go ahead and pack a little extra grace for those situations. And as far as helping them connect the dots and ideas from another person's perspective, this might sound simple, but it's helpful to remember to ask questions like, how do you think that made the other person feel? How do you think the other person is feeling about this? Those are all helpful questions. Now, with that said, talking about others, there's a lot of social changes going on, so I'm gonna leave Corey up to that.
Yeah, so as far as social changes, they are becoming more and more independent. This is good, this is how it's supposed to be, but that is challenging, They say the shift for your 5th and 6th grader is in that summer. And so, their whole life, you have had the most influence on their life. They have looked to you for wisdom and all of that, but obviously that's going down and they're starting to look more to their peers. And they say this summer between 5th and 6th grade is that shift of where they are looking now more to their peers for that than they ever have before. Obviously that's a generality, but it is super helpful. I've heard it referred to as a swimming pool. And so say your student is a swimmer, you are the pool in which they swim, and the water is the broader world. They are experiencing, splashing, diving around, but sometimes they have to go to the side of the pool to catch their breath. And so we see that in real time. They're busy with activities in school and hanging out with their friends, but there comes a time when they come to you and they're not okay with how their world is going. Something affects that. They come to you, they come to this side of the pool to catch their breath. We see that, like you might see them cuddling with you on the side of the couch and talking to you about what's going on in their life, and they're sharing everything that's going on. And then 5 seconds later, they're, get away from me. What are you doing? Why are you talking to me? And because they have to push off the side of the swimming pool to go back to the world like a normal swimmer would. And that's normal, but that's challenging, obviously. And with that, we see their new independency through their friendships. A lot of times, growing up, it's your friends who is on your street or who's in your class. But now it's more who do you have common interests with that you can be friends with? What are the same things that you like? And friendships really take on an entire new meaning for our students. They are looking for that to define them. What team am I on? Where do I belong? What friend group am I in? Especially for girls, that's really challenging. They're very relational. They're seeking deep friendships. And so that's why we need to help them navigate these relationships by keeping Jesus as their identity. They're also trying to figure out their talents. What am I good at? But they still, they're trying to fit in. And so we see sometimes they won't do something that they're good at just because it's not socially cool. I knew of a guy who was really, really talented in art, but wanted to be good at baseball. And so for a long time, him and his mom and I talked about it, and he did not want to share that with anybody, even though he was super talented. We see that a lot with our students. And then obviously, like Kevin said, they are becoming a lot more aware of themselves. Our fifth graders are a little bit more confident. A lot of them are the top at their school, in their elementary school. And so there's a big shift in our sixth graders where they are a lot more self-conscious of what everyone is perceiving them to be. It's a huge, it's very evident to us in physics. We see it. And really what all of this means is that this phase is the least consistent of all the phases from 0 to 12th, specifically sixth grade. You have some students that want to still sleep with their stuffed animal or their Barbie or their doll, but you have some students that want a phone and want to sleep with their phone, right? It's actually interesting to note that sixth grade, they lie the most out of any other phase. And they learn best by hands-on experiences. I always feel like that's helpful to mention. You get their attention by being competitive, a competition. We definitely see that in 5th, 6th. They're all in for that. They also value non-parental influences, which is why small groups matter so much. And so use that. We coach and train up our leaders to shepherd our students and point them to Jesus and point them back to you. And the leaders are going to be saying the same thing that you're saying. It just might sound a little bit different to your student. And then last thing, they value authenticity, especially this generation, Generation Z. More than all my years of youth ministry, I've just seen getting their attention by being real with them. Obviously appropriate, but we definitely see that the moment you say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with right now. I'm really, I'm struggling. They are locked in on what you are saying. And so that's super helpful to know. There's also a lot of emotional changes, which I'm sure that you've seen. So let's talk about those. As children, we experience very limited amount of emotions. We're sad, we're happy, we're mad. But once you go into adolescence, yes, it's a whole wide range of emotions. And for them, it's really confusing. They're experiencing these mood swings, and they've never experienced that before, which is really confusing. And so we need to help them to name what the emotion is, to understand it, and then to respond in a God-honoring way. They have very high highs and very low lows, which is all a part of God's design. And so we need to teach them again and again that our emotions are our gauges, they're not our guides. Like a gauge, it shows you where you're at, specifically where our heart is at. But we never live our lives based on our emotions. We live our lives based on truth, right? And so we need to teach them and show them how to go to God with those emotions, because He always wants what's best for us, and He never changes, which is very important to remember again and again and again. And I've heard of students sharing with me when we talk about emotions, well, anger's a sin. And I'm like, no, anger's not a sin. It's just an emotion, And I always, show them that, because if they think something is bad, they're going to try to stuff it. And it's not going to come out, and they won't deal with that until it's like nasty results, which we see as an adult, right? If you don't deal with something, it's going to come out sooner or later. Obviously, I share with them, you can respond in a simple way, but it's not a sin to be angry. And I always think that's helpful. I also think it's helpful for us to show them how to deal with emotions, that we they're God-given. We have emotions. It's not a bad thing, but how to deal with that. I heard of a parent, which I thought was super, super cool, and that when they would get mad, they would share with their kids, hey, please pray for me. I'm really angry right now. And then the kid would pray for them. They would either pray together or the parent would go away and process that with the Lord and show them like, okay, emotions happen, but there is a way to honor God with those. And so I think that's super helpful for our students with emotions.
Now, we've talked about all the physical changes, the mental changes, a little bit about the social and emotional changes going on in your adolescence, but we're Christ Chapel Bible Church, so we like to talk about the spiritual changes going on in your adolescence too. So the adolescent phase, if you haven't already figured out, is all about growing into an individual. And the spiritual part of their lives is no different. You see, your preteen is moving from a faith that is inherited by you, their parents, their caretakers, from one that is their own. They're beginning to ask questions like, do I really believe this? And this can lead to a time of questioning and doubt. But we want you to remember that this is totally healthy and absolutely normal. Here's another way to think about it, and Corey actually shared this with me. In this stage, your adolescent has found themselves at a sort of a crossroads, just in between and multiple paths. They aren't exactly a kid anymore, but they're also not necessarily an adult yet. No. Kind of like her pool analogy, part of them is still holding onto that edge, and the other part wants to go splash around in the deep end. And so what this means for their spiritual life is that they are going to ask themselves, am I going to follow God now or put this off till later? Am I going to own my faith now or just kind of go through the motions or just completely disregard it absolutely and entirely? And if we want them to develop an authentic faith that they can call their own right now in this preteen stage, their adolescent stage, then we must help them navigate through these doubts, all these questions, by challenging them what they believe and why they believe it. So our encouragement to you is to constantly encourage them to see what God's word has to say about their questions, their doubts, and their beliefs. Sometimes this is going to look like you coming alongside them and reading scripture together, praying together. But other times, remember, it's super important to encourage them to spend time with the Lord on their own.
Mm-hmm. And as with that, guiding them, it's super helpful to note that they need you to share their experiences, right? That is, as adults, we've gone through adolescence, and it's important to share that with them. But also have grace. The world looks a lot different, even just for us being out of high school, looks a lot different than it does for them right now. And so have grace with that. They also, they need you to help them experiencing these high highs and these low lows with them. They're a big deal to them. A lot of times it's hard for us because it doesn't make logical sense why something is such a big deal to them, or, it's this huge thing, but it's not really that big of a deal when we talk about it. But to them it is. It's the same emotion, even though the logical side of things isn't quite there yet. It's a big deal to them. And so they need you to experience their high highs and their low lows together. And when you do that, they're going to be more likely to come to you. They also need you to continue to confirm that it is normal what they are going through, that it's hard. Adolescence is not easy. Walking through this whole process of becoming independent as your own person is challenging, but it is a part of God's design, and it's normal. Another thing to note with that is to never make fun or single a student out during this process, even for things that we might not see as making fun of, even just talking about it in front of other people, their peers, adults, and talking about them going through these changes and these processes. To us, it's kind of maybe funny because we went through it, but to them, it's very real and can make them feel like they're being made fun of. And then last thing, walk with compassion. I heard that again and again talking with parents over the years of just, this is their first time going through this, they've never done this. It's scary. They feel, is there something wrong with me? What's going on? And share with them like, hey, this is my first time doing this. I've never parented an adolescent or a preteen. Have grace with me. I'm trying to have grace with you. Please have grace with me because I'm trying to figure this out. But hopefully those have been helpful tips and tricks that we've learned over the years.